Minimalism got you yawning and ready to see what happens when cold intellectualism meets a flamethrower of feeling. Let's find out. Welcome to today's deep dive into Neo-Expressionism, a movement that shook up the art world in the late 1970s and early 1980s. In this video, we'll examine how Neo-Expressionism reacted against previous movements, explore its core characteristics, highlight key artists, consider the cultural context that fueled its rise, and look at the lasting legacy it left on contemporary art. By the end, you'll understand why this often controversial movement remains both celebrated and critiqued, yet undeniably influential. Neo-Expressionism emerged as a stark counterpoint to the dominant art movements that preceded it, the cool, detached realms of minimalism and conceptual art. Throughout the 1970s, much of the art world had embraced a preference for pure abstraction, intellectualized theory, and sleek, impersonal forms. Galleries were filled with clean lines and color fields that deliberately avoided emotive or narrative content. While this approach appealed to those who valued formalism and cerebral exploration, it left many artists feeling stifled. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, a new generation of painters decided enough was enough. They yearned to reintroduce raw emotion, narrative storytelling, and the human figure back into their work. Instead of perpetuating cold detachment, they sought to evoke visceral reactions with every brushstroke. It was a conscious choice to reconnect art with the messy realities of life, where personal histories, social conflicts, and powerful emotions all intersect. In other words, neo-expressionists didn't want art to merely be contemplated. They wanted it to be felt. This shift signaled a major change in how audiences could engage with paintings, setting the stage for a more direct, immediate, and at times chaotic experience. Neo-expressionist artwork shares several hallmark traits, beginning with a profound emotional intensity. These pieces often address themes like urban tension, alienation, and social or psychological turmoil. Paint is applied with vigor, conveying a sense of urgency or even desperation. Thick gestural brushstrokes and a seemingly haphazard approach give the viewer an immediate insight into the artist's state of mind. Another defining element is the figurative focus. Whereas minimalism and conceptual art largely eschewed the human figure, Neo-Expressionism brought it back to center stage. Drawing inspiration from early 20th century expressionists like Ernst Ludwig Kirchner and Wassily Kandinsky in their more representational phases, these new painters weren't afraid to depict distorted, sometimes disturbing human forms. Their goal was not anatomical accuracy, but an honest reflection of emotional and psychological truths. A related feature is the primitive aesthetic. By using aggressive, unrefined techniques and abrupt color juxtapositions, these artists cultivated a sense of rawness. Often, colors are bold, clashing, or deliberately ugly. This was a way of shocking viewers out of complacency. Neo-expressionists embraced this primal mode to convey the immediacy and intensity of lived experience. Finally, innovative materials played a role in setting this movement apart. Julian Schnabel famously integrated broken plates into his work to create sculptural surfaces, while others used found objects, collage, or heavy impasto to achieve a tactile quality. This willingness to experiment with texture and form underscored the movement's desire to break from formal traditions and bring raw, real-world elements onto the canvas. No discussion of neo-expressionism is complete without mentioning Jean-Michel Basquiat. Rising from the New York graffiti scene under the tag Samo, Basquiat propelled street art into high-profile galleries. His paintings are layered with vibrant colors, cryptic symbols, text fragments, and scrawled figures. What made Basquiat so groundbreaking was his fearless tackling of issues like race, class, and capitalism. His work wasn't just visual spectacle, it was a raw commentary on social injustice and the human condition. Another pivotal figure, Julian Schnabel, brought a painterly yet unorthodox approach to the canvas. Schnabel often used broken plates, found materials and enormous scales to construct monumental works that blurred the line between painting and sculpture. His technique juxtaposed beauty and chaos in such a way that the audience is simultaneously drawn in and disoriented, an effect very much in line with neo-expressionist ideas of confronting viewers with raw emotion. Then there's Anselm Kiefer, a German artist whose oeuvre is heavily informed by themes of history, mythology, and national memory, particularly the complex legacy of World War II in Germany. Kiefer's choice of materials, lead, ash, straw, and other dense symbolic substances adds a profound literal and figurative weight to his works. His monumental canvases force viewers to confront not just the physical mass of the work, but also the historical burdens that shaped modern European consciousness. Each of these artists exemplifies the neo-expressionist commitment to emotional content, innovative materials, and a willingness to engage with cultural, social, or historical realities head-on. The late 20th century was a period of intense upheaval. Disco was on its way out, punk was evolving into goth, and hip-hop was exploding out of urban neighborhoods. Technological advancements like the early internet were on the horizon, while significant geopolitical events such as the Cold War, the Iranian hostage crisis, and conflicts in the Middle East dominated headlines. At home and abroad, people were questioning authority, confronting social injustice, and grappling with the aftermath of Vietnam and the ongoing tensions between major global powers. Against this backdrop, art had to reflect the turmoil and the cultural cross-pollination taking place. Minimalism and conceptual art, with their detached sensibilities, didn't resonate as strongly with those who wanted art to speak directly to the human experience. Neo-Expressionism, therefore, made perfect sense. It was raw, it was immediate, and it provided a visual echo of the social and political turbulence that defined the era. Many artists and viewers alike saw in neo-expressionism a more authentic engagement with the world's chaos. It was an aesthetic that was messy, conflicted, and unafraid to wear its emotional scars. In this way, the movement mirrored the rebellious energy found in punk music, early hip-hop, and other cultural forms that refused to shy away from stark reality. Although neo-expressionism was a dominant force in the art market during the early to mid-1980s, its reign was relatively brief. High-profile galleries championed these works as trophy pieces for collectors, and some critics saw the movement's rapid commercialization as an inherent contradiction. But it's also a fact that neo-expressionism bridged a gap between fine art and commerce. It showed that the art market could be a powerhouse capable of elevating certain styles to global prominence almost overnight. This set a precedent for artists now using social media and other platforms to promote their brand, blurring the lines between creative vision and marketing strategy. In addition, there is a fact that might seem contradictory. The movement actually helped revive figurative painting at a time when many had considered it passé. By returning focus to the human body, personal identity, and storytelling, neo-expressionists opened doors for the street artists, muralists, and contemporary painters who have come after them. Despite lingering debates over authenticity and commercialism, neo-expressionism's short-lived flame left a bright after-image on the art world. If you found this video interesting, remember to subscribe to the channel as it helps us to create more videos, and also take the opportunity to watch the video recommendation you can see here to the left. I know you'll love it. Thanks for watching.